Hey everyone, welcome. This video is here because the occasion we waited for so long has finally came, which is the Chapter 3 teaser trailer. I'm pretty sure there will also be a gameplay trailer, so we'll call this one teaser trailer. I'm not going to play the whole video because copyrights, but rather use screenshots, so let's not wait longer and start the video. Okay, first of all, we are greeted with burning flames inside a room labeled with play care. I'm not sure, but the fire is either caused by machinery, like we see in the incineration phase of Project Playtime, or the train itself is burning due to the crash, which was very bad. However, in a very flash second, a very creepy picture of a gas mask is seen, like it is very similar to the one in the brown VHS tape where we run through the static voice through a spectrogram. And this one is different from the one in the first teaser, like we saw in the one Elliot Ludwig was talking, and the spectrogram image is pretty similar, but it's probably in a different angle or the picture itself. Another very interesting thing about this picture is the letters. I don't know if you can see them, but there are letters instead of lines at some places. There are very faint diagonal lines throughout the picture that forms triangles. And you can notice that where these lines go, the symbols are letters, and only these are letters, so we have to follow the lines. When we follow the lines, we get the letters spectremetus, and maybe this is where the player will enter the play care area due to a fire caused in the train due to the crash. And then we'll enter the depths of the factory, probably. Afterwards, we see a dark room with very little lighting and maybe a little smoke, but I'm not sure if it's just blurry or the smoke itself. The 3 lines of claw marks indicate that the culprit is probably the giant hand we saw previously in the teaser image, and more importantly, there are beds in this room, or chairs, but probably beds, and they're all around the room lined up. This pretty much confirms our theories about play care being the place that the children, and if they are orphans, lived. Before they were used on experiments, we also see a faint shadow at the left side of the wall, I guess, if it's not the shadow of the chandelier at the top. And at this point, the most noticeable thing in this picture is obviously the dead Huggy. However, when we use a little bit deduction, we can see that the claw itself was probably not the reason it died, since the marks and the blood stains do not match up. They are not linear. There's not that much correlation, I guess. Moreover, there's no damage to the body, well, other than being headless. This is probably caused by a bite, kind of like those caused by Baxibu, I guess. And I think the one who killed this Hagiwagi has killed many others, because we see some cat bee toys in chapter 1 and chapter 2, and if I'm not wrong, some PJ Pagapillars as well, some small ones, and they have no damage other than being decapitated. So it's probably true that some monster kills by severing the head, and I assume this is either Baxibu or someone we haven't met yet. And lastly, the plush at the top is pretty similar to one of those in the Playcare poster we saw in the Project Playtime. Maybe they were in the mascot of the specific area, like the way Mommy was to the game station and Hagiwagi was in the entrance part. Then we see a very dark, probably burned picture of a child who doesn't really seem to be happy to be photographed. What is weird is that the claw marks are behind the picture, even though the picture already itself seems very old, and maybe even burned a little bit though. This makes me think that maybe there were some inhabitants here until very close to our arrival, and maybe they are there even now. Maybe they may not be children, they may not be employees, but I believe someone is still in the playcare area, not a monster. And the layer of the photo is pretty similar to the Playcare poster we saw in Project Playtime. What is interesting is that the characters in this poster is turn their backs to us, right? And the plush we saw then was licking a head. And the only non-visible part of the characters in this picture is probably the burnt heads. Considering all of the eye implications, the all-seeing eye, etc., it makes me really curious about what will happen to the heads. Because Huggy also lacks a head in this teaser. And then again, the same thing, a material is on the wall on top of the claw marks, and the picture is slightly burned at the sides. I honestly believe the white thing at the back is another paper and not a face like some people say. In the child's drawing, there are three children, which is similar to what we see in the original Playcare poster, with a time for bad writing at the bottom. Maybe these three children drawings, who they represent, became the three beings' toys at the Playcare poster, who knows. The drawing has purple colors and a moon, which is the contrast that we were shared by the devs on the Discord server. It is now pretty obvious that sleep and awakeness will be one of the key themes of the story from now on. Plus, it might be my imagination, but I think at the right arm of the purple creature, there is the upper part of mummy long legs, like we can see the hair and the head. It is visible by having a bulk at the waist and a single layer of long hair, because we know that mummy has the hair at the one side of the head, the long hair. However, if it indeed is mummy's upper body, then the drawing is made very soon, since mummy joined whatever the prototype is at when we were in the factory. And if that is true, then this is a strong indication that, as I mentioned before, there are still habitants in the Playcare area other than monsters. The evidence that supports this as well, obviously the letter we got at the beginning and one of the death screen messages. More lives are at risk than just yours. And the letter we got before entering the factory kinda seems like a child's handwriting, and if the Playcare area is where the childs were once, maybe there's a correlation there. And then we have the phone from Project Playtime. It should be noted that the eyes of the phone are nowhere to be seen again, indicating that there is indeed something wrong with the eyes in the living things at the factory. And then we have more pictures. It is obviously one of the leaked images we got recently. What we first noticed is the verse carved into walls. The original saved me, I rejoice in him. And more unreadable words behind the photos. Then again, both the pictures and the characters around like eyes, we cannot see their eyes. We cannot see anything about their eyes. Now, by the original, I'm pretty sure they mean the prototype, since it is probably one of the first ones created in the factory. The way they word it kinda sounds like they knew the prototype before it became the prototype. Maybe it was the first child ever stepped there, maybe it was the first child who was experimented on, maybe it was the child of Elliot Ludwig himself, I don't know. Maybe they were against the prototype, which is why they tried to free the other ones. We also get the confirmation that the prototype is a he, therefore eliminating the possibility that it is Ludwig's daughter or wife. If Elliot indeed had a child who he lost in the factory, then it must be a boy, I guess. Then we have 3 drawings and a carved sentence. First one is a drawing of very creepy black entity with the purple one that says, "My new friend." If the black one is the child itself, but I'm not sure, this really doesn't look like a child there, more like a plush. We can conclude that the purple one is really gigantic in terms of proportions. Then we have "He gives me nightmares." The same tone of purple mark is used here, which indicates that they refer to the same purple entity. Not in the FNAF one, I hope. However, one seems to talk friendly while other is nightmarish, the way the children refer them kinda in the opposing styles. This makes me believe that children have varying of opinions of the purple one, although I do not really know why. And lastly, we have a crying child with a sentence, "Just like mommy and daddy before they left me." This is confusing because there are 2 possibilities. First, the child's parents were abusive and they see the same treatment at the Playcare. Second, they were really nice. The child somehow got separated from them and someone or something is nice to them again. And now we have the carved sentence. I serve to our angel of salvation. This almost looks like religious, more like something a cult would say, which is really concerning considering these are probably children who wrote them. This is particularly interesting because of the choice of words also. By definition, salvation means saving someone from harm, risk, or destruction. Considering the purpose of the prototype, it fits pretty well to him, I guess. Now I've been talking like the purple one is the prototype, but that's probably not true since the carvings and the claw marks might as well be done by the same creature, and it probably is actually. So does the purple one serving the prototype? Maybe it's bringing him toy parts to make himself a whole or something like that. Moving forward, we have those very ritualistic candles again. I know, this is really concerning. They are interesting because we've never really seen candles on any place at any map in Project Playtime or Puppet Playtime as far as I remember. Then again, we have the bloodstains and the claw marks at the ground. Later, we see that dripping liquid was in fact from the head of a dead Huggy Wuggy. It might even be the head of the body we've previously seen in the trailer, this weird head. Why is it on a stick? I'm not very sure, but it looked like kind of something or someone was sacrificing the head to someone. And since we've never seen a head or eyes in this teaser and in the previous materials we've got, maybe the heads or specifically the eyes was severed to give to someone, a specific one. Maybe this could even be why the reason the hand in chapter 3, probably the prototype only took the part of Mummy Lang legs that had a head. I mean, the lower body was also there, it could have easily scratched it, but it only chose to take the head. Afterwards, we see a giant thing. I don't even know if that thing is even alive. I searched to see if we can recognize any toy parts we've seen before. These might be a stretch, but I think there are Huggy set, Brown set, Mummy set, Upside Down. This is, in my opinion, either a ritual to raise some entity or the throne of someone, but it really looks like they're building something. Okay, it's featuring me editing the script, and is that Poppy's hair? I'm pretty sure that those two thingies are either her hair or ears of a cat or a dog. And yes, moving on. Then we have more carvings, followers of the path. They really make it sound like there's some cultist stuff going on in the factory, hence the I see you flower we see in previous ARG is also an indication to this. Never forget the hour of joy. Right now it seems like there are at least 3 different entities or rather sites that create those marks. First, probably children or their tour visions, then a powerful entity, and thirdly an opposing side. What is weird about all this hour of joy stuff is that it doesn't really sound like something that happened, but rather will happen. They never use past tense, and rejoice in the hour of joy rather sounds like a command than anything else. And this one sounds like a goal when you consider all of these rather than a past event. My somniferous flock. By definition, somniferous refers to a thing that brings sleep, and flock is used to identify a group of things, usually birds. Maybe a bird isn't the main antagonist of the chapter, but we will see small birds that go around and try to put the player to sleep, like situations somehow. And lastly, we have the eyes. It is the white version of what we saw in the promo image. It makes me believe that the previous reddish appearance was because of the presence of the red gas. Then the being breathes out a reddish gas. I'm not sure if it is face or a gas mask. Either way, it looks very scary and exciting at the same time. Now, this is definitely not a bird. However, the texture doesn't seem like fur either. I've seen some posts on Reddit that said it looks like Sir Poops a lot, and even though I don't believe it is likely, it sure will be interesting to see maybe as a side character some rejected rejected toy seeking for revenge or something. And then we get the name of our new chapter, Deep Sleep. I'm planning to make a whole another video about the sleep theme, and this video is already long enough, so I won't go into any details or spoil anything. In the end, however, there are some voices similar to the brown VHS tape, and I've tried to put it through a spectrogram but got no results. And at the very end, very faintly, we see a link to a website, and this is where ARG started, which is the topic of a whole another video which I'm planning to make very soon. And so this is all for now about the teaser. I don't think there's anything else we haven't seen in this teaser before right now until the game comes out in the winter. So see you later.